Hello, my name's Garsen, and I appreciate you attending my presentation on why I think Monk is pretty ridiculous, and I love it. We're speaking mostly about Monk Thief multi-class, Way of the Hand, from here on out, but this kind of refers to mostly Monk in general, and why it's kind of broken. And then we have the lovely Lae'zel, who's going to give us a little demonstration by being a menace to society.
Taking position.
Alright, thank you Lae'zel. Well done, well done. Looks like she understood the assignment. Appreciate that. So, if you've made it this far, cool. All the action kind of stops here. We have something even more exciting. Are you ready for this? That's right, handy dandy whiteboard. You know we're in for a good time when we see that. Alright, so while this loads, I'm going to bring this back to the start. We're just going to go over some notes. I'm going to try and speed run it. Strap yourself in because there's no way I'm getting through all this in a quick amount of time. But here we go, right? So let's go over something real quick. Basically, if we pull up the notes here. So Monk is kind of ridiculous, like I said. It's ridiculous for a lot of reasons. We're going to go over the big points. And again, just as a reminder, we're talking more about the open hand subclass of Monk with the Thief Rogue at level 3 Rogue. There are some big points here. We have Dex is king, you're wise, you do stupid damage. The action economy is wild, which refers to flurry of fucking blows. Sorry, we're cursing now, I guess. But good utility, gear makes you broken, and you're good from the beginning of the game all the way to the end. I've done Tactician, and then when Honor Mode came out, this Monk just carried me, and this is primarily why this combo. So we'll be referring to this. Keep in mind a lot of these points still kind of relate back to Monk in general. This is not a build video. This is not really much of a breakdown video. This is really just me gushing, so please enjoy. So, Dex is king. What do I mean by Dex is king? Let's go into the game real quick. I'll try and explain things. While I'm explaining things, I'll try to show you. Dex, if you don't understand the breakdown of stats, effectively just scrap the 10. If you're above 10 in a stat, you take the number that comes after the 10, in this case 6, divide it by 2, and you always round down if you are on a odd number. So 6 is actually 3 dexterity addition to anything it's relevant to. Dex is, I could make a whole video about Dex, but it's just for this case, it's going to give us armor class, especially when we're not armored, and Monk's whole thing is to kind of be unarmored, right? So we actually get, as you can see down here, +3 from dexterity and armor class. We get +3 in initiative from dexterity, and basically if you weren't using strength, your attacks when you're a monk, your unarmed attacks and some of your weapon attacks are actually affected by dexterity now, your accuracy and damage. So maybe that's relevant to you. But really in this build, we're only getting armor class for defense and initiative, which is a super important thing in honor mode especially, right? Let's move on real quick to your wise. Okay, this might be more important than you really think it is. So our wisdom right now is up to 20, which effectively, as you can see there, just translate to +5 wisdom. You want to build, essentially when you set the character up, you just want to go for dex and wisdom. You're super optimized. Monk is retarded. You really only have to worry about 2 stats because you're getting a freebie with strength, and we'll talk about that in a second. But wisdom specifically, at this point, is +5. So level 1 monk automatically just gets more armor class when they're not wearing any armor or shields from their wisdom. So wisdom is adding also to our defense. Now, a few other notes I have here off to the side. You can't see them. Ha ha ha. Wisdom is not only adding our armor class, like I said, you get damage later on, which we'll cover a little bit later, okay? But also, perception and insight checks are kind of deceptively important. So when you're talking to people, this can come up a lot. But more importantly, wisdom can actually add so much value when doing dialogue that you can use your monk as a face of the party. And if you don't know, a face of the party just means like the main character. If he was your Tav or your origin character, like a lot of people say, oh, charisma is king. Charisma has, let's go all the way over here. Charisma has deception, intimidation, performance, persuasion. I think it's a great face party, or a face of the party is to use charisma character, like a bard or something like that. You even get special options for a class like bard. But monk also gets special dialogue options that actually go, I think, off of your insight or just provide really low dice rolls or even advantage for the situation. And I want you to effectively think of it as any kind of kerfuffle you tend to walk your way, you put your nose into, you kind of just resolve by being like, hey guys, I think we should all get along. And everyone's like, wow, you're just so wise. I never would have thought of that, unironically, right? So you effectively walk up to any situation. Imagine Lae'zel walking up to any situation, putting up the live long and prosper hand gesture and just telling everyone to calm down. And everyone's like, yeah, you're right. So I find that immensely valuable in honor mode, where dialogue can really get you in trouble, or it can give you a lot of XP for not fighting. My philosophy on dialogue is it's like having combat, like a very quick encounter of combat. I could go over it, but let's just move on to the fun part. Stupid damage. So thanks to Lae'zel, you saw a good example of that. I'll break it down for you. Essentially, you can get 1 elixir and 1 feat by level 4. Let's look at it in game. So the elixir, you can early on get level 20, or early on in Act 1, you can get an elixir of, here it is, a hill giant strength. This will raise your strength to 21, obviously. Later on in Act 3, by level 10, you can start finding Cloud Giant, and it gives you 27 strength. So again, you can dump strength down to 8 if you wanted to, and you will have insane strength for the rest of the game. And the deadly combo, if you don't already know it, is using this elixir, which lasts for the day or until you die, right? You need to stockpile these, but they're very easy to get, especially if you have some alchemy or you know where the vendors are at, right? But if you combine it at level 4 with, where is it? Tavern Brawler. Okay, if you don't already know, Tavern Brawler is the only feat you need on this character. At level 4, you pick up your first feat, Tavern Brawler. It doubles the contribution that strength gives, your strength modifier, okay? So what does that mean, dummy? Okay, what it means is if we have 21 strength, that's effectively 10 strength is being added to your accuracy and your attack damage on your punches. Now that we have 27 strength, you can think of it as 16 extra damage, right? It says 8, but you're doubling that contribution, right? And that also works for throwing attacks, but we don't really care too much about that. What we care about is, as you can see here, 21 damage is being added to our bludgeoning damage, our punches, right? That's crazy. So the other bludgeoning damage there is coming from the boots we'll get into, but 16 damage, right? And it's accuracy. If you saw during that demo, it's why we, you know, didn't miss pretty much ever. Okay, so we do stupid damage and we can do it really early, and we have that combo for the rest of the game, and you really don't need much more requirements from beyond that, right? You double your strength bonuses for damage with Tavern Brawler, like I said. Bludgeoning damage, let's talk about that for a second. Bludgeoning damage is low-key amazing, okay? Not to mention at level 6, you bypass any kind of resistances with, where is it? I can't see. Martial arts, death strikes, yeah, martial arts. Key empowered strikes. At level 6, any monk gets this. Way of the Hand gets a better version of it though. But you can bypass, this is kind of worded wrong, I'll make it really easy. You essentially bypass physical bludgeoning resistance, which is somewhat common but not much. And this is why bludgeoning is pretty like low-key amazing. If we look at the Watcher over here, if you noticed, yeah, he resists bludgeoning, but he doesn't resist the blue, which is a magical version of the bludgeoning. That's why we were doing full damage when we were punching him. So low-key amazing. Bludgeoning is very underappreciated, I feel. You not only do you get bludgeoning damage, but at level 6, monk gets magical punching damage, right? So going back to it, you can bypass the physical resistances. You can only be stopped by true immunity to magical bludgeoning damage. And then few things really resist that, right? You also get elemental damage on your punches. As you can see down here, we can swap these on the fly, which is ridiculous. So you saw in the demonstration, I swapped to Radiant because the Watcher resisted, or he was full immune to the psychic damage, right? So we can swap our elemental damage, we get a bonus of damage, and just to show you this, it says 6 to 9 damage. So Way of the Fist monk gets these elemental punches, and they not only give you a d4 of elemental damage, but they also give you your wisdom modifier. Didn't I say that earlier? It adds to our damage, right? So we're getting +5 to our elemental fist damage, right? And a +5 to our bludgeoning damage from wisdom, thanks to gear and the setup, okay? So we're doing crazy amounts of damage, and we haven't even really broken it down just yet. Okay, so bludgeoning damage, action, okay? So, and we can swap the elements on the fly, okay? So a big reason we do a lot of damage is, again, during the demonstration is, and I'll give you one more demonstration, action economy is cuckoo crazy, okay? We can effectively use our actions and our bonus actions to do whatever we need to. We have a version of dash for both, right? Even if we were just a monk, we could blow a Kai point to dash if we need to, and then we get free jumping. There's just way too much to get into here, but the more bonus actions, the better, honestly. But just to show you, even if you don't want to blow your resources, you can. Well, we'll have to get into combat first, but bear with me. If we punch this guy, start a fight. We're going to end a turn, so I can reset my actions and whatnot. Bear with me, don't hit him. Alright, we'll have this guy jump over here. La 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 la. Come on over. Come on over. Here we go. Alright. Yep, I would have killed him. Okay, so what I was getting at is, even if you don't want to blow your Kai points, you can actually just punch a guy. It's going to give you this bonus action off to the side here, and then you can now spend your bonus action, get another strike. You can do this as early as level 1, by the way. That's kind of ridiculous. Then at level 5 you get an extra attack, so you'll get an attack, and it would give us another bonus action right here. That's 4 attacks, and you didn't even have to blow any Kai points, right? So we'll let that load up. So kind of ridiculous for, you know, damage and whatnot. Just very efficient action economy. So I guess, you know, we'll highlight action economy. We're doing this live. Bear with me. So while this loads in, some notes on action economy. You're essentially using action or bonus action freely to dash, disengage, and jump, as I demonstrated. And you have an excellent resource in Kai points that can enable you to do a lot more stuff. You get 2 attacks from the very get-go, and by level 5 you're doing 4 attacks like I demonstrated, right? So Thief adds the other bonus action right down here. That's why we have 2. So we'll get into the level breakdown a little bit, but by level 9 you can effectively have 1, 2, 3, 4 attacks without even blowing any actions, right? And you can still attack after being revived. This is a very low-key detail I want to highlight. If I got downed right now and someone healed me, I can't use my action. But I have 2 bonus actions to run away, use patient defense, which gives disadvantage on attack rolls, or even do a massive damage with flurry of blows, like I would never left the fight, right? So even on 1 HP after being revived, or someone threw a potion at me or whatever, I can still kick a lot of ass, even though my turn would have potentially been skipped on any other martial. That's kind of crazy, in my opinion, right? So let's get to something I really love about Monk. Flurry of blows, right? I mean, screw it, we're gonna curse at this point, right? I love flurry of fucking blows, man. That's why it's a whole freaking point in and of itself, even though we've been skirting around it. So flurry of blows by level 3 Monk, as you can see, you get 2 strikes for 1 bonus action and 1 Kai point. That's insanely efficient, okay? I'm a nerd for like efficiency. I love it. I mean, if she didn't just miss there, way to go. We'll give her credit because she had no problem doing the demonstration, but look at this. This is ridiculous, okay? So for 1 bonus action, right, you're effectively getting, if you think of like your action as 2 attacks, because you can get level 5 gives you a bonus extra attack, right? Even before you get that extra attack, at level 3 you can be doing 2 strikes for 1 bonus action, right? And for Kai point. 1 Kai point. Oh my god. Damn, we're missing a lot today. Wazam. Okay? That's ridiculous. Not to mention, we can give ourselves, as you saw in the demonstration, wholeness of body, get 3 bonus actions. There's just too much to gush over with that. It's ridiculous. Kai points is really what the point over here should say. Kai points are the ridiculous easy resource system you can use. If we just refresh on short rest, right, you can see the description right down here. So on short rest, we'll get all of our Kai points back, right? And just one of these suckers can do a lot for us, especially for damage. We can even give ourselves half of our Kai points back. And then for 3 turns, we have a bonus action, a 3rd bonus action, and we'll have, we'll be regenerating 1 Kai point per turn for those 3 turns. Like, all that really means is like, you just don't run out of this resource. So once per long rest, and then for all the other short rests, you can easily get your Kai points back. There's even an amulet out there, go find it, right? It's got a little, where is it? Damn. Maybe I don't have it on this character. There it is. So Sentient Amulet, this thing can upgrade later on in the game, but this can give you your Kai points back. I mean, Kai points are one of the best resource systems I've ever seen in the game. And I don't mean that from like, wow, they're so cool or interesting, just from like a results perspective. Like, Kai points are insane. So let's move on to our next point here. I'll pull it up. Good utility. So what do I mean by good utility? Let's blab about this for just a second. So when it comes to good utility, we have, you can steal very easily once you become a thief. You can add the thief level in early on. Let's look at this. Thief, if you choose to, you can get good sleight of hand. If you were a Githyanki, you can actually add dexterity proficiencies for free every day. I have gone over a few videos now why sleight of hand's pretty important on an honor mode run. Let's see. You can run a football field. That's right. Let's check out. Look at this. I have 55 movement speed. If you don't already realize it, movement speed is kind of everything. And honestly, even though I have this little Horns of the Berserker, this is a helmet I've gone over in a few videos. So Haste Helmet is ridiculously good early on because there's not many good helmet options. You can add effectively 15 more feet. And this is even good for a monk, at least. Even good for a martial class later on in Act 3 even, because there's not that many helmet choices on a monk, in my opinion. You have a few, but you could even add 15 more feet. This would be, what, 70 feet of movement? And then I can add more with, you know, 2 different dashes. I mean, just insane utility for moving around the battlefield. And one last caveat about movement. In honor mode, you may find that you need to run the hell away. So even if you've blown your action or bonus action, there's always a way to get the hell out and run so far that you could effectively get out of the battle and, you know, heal up your whole party, revive your whole party. That is very good utility. And last, even if somehow all of these damage types down here aren't doing enough, or there is somehow bludgeoning resistance, you can actually use your Tavern Brawler and high strength to throw something at somebody. Sorry, buddy. I think we missed anyway. It's about the principle of the thing. Hi-ya! There we go. Whoopsie. Alright, so let's just take a look at that real quick. Have his sacrifice not in vain. So Tavern Brawler is not working, apparently. I don't know, something went wrong there. Maybe we're supposed to use throwing weapon, I don't know. But just bear with me, right? Tavern Brawler will allow you to throw a weapon, so you can effectively do maybe piercing damage with this dagger or slashing damage with this axe. And you can do it at range, so we don't need a bow per se to do ranged attacks if for whatever reason you can't make the movement happen, right? You can't reach them, but that shouldn't even be a problem. With all the damage you do on your fist, it shouldn't be a problem. Just a little caveat to notice. Let's get into gear real quick. Quick breakdown on gear. So gear makes you broken. Well, what kind of gear are we talking about? So let's look at the gear itself. Like I said, helmet's not that important. This is kind of freebie. I use active, Cloak of Displacement to kind of give us enemies disadvantage on the first hit against us. This in Act 3, you can get clothing, which, let's back up for a second. You want to use clothing on a monk for all the benefits we're getting for armor class, movement speed, all that stuff. But in Act 3, you can get Soul Rejuvenation. This gives you a little heal if you dodge a saving throw. As you've seen during the demonstration, we'll get a free counter attack using our reaction. We'll get a free attack. That's kind of amazing. And this thing comes with 2 armor class on top of our awesome benefits to armor class as well, right? Monk, throughout the game, is going to be able to get these, since they're not using any weapons in their weapon slot, preferably. You get your gloves can be thought of as weapons, because a lot of weapons have a little elemental damage to them. These give you a little 1d4 on just about all of them. There is a legendary gloves in Act 3. Go find them. They're insane. They give you force damage, 1d10, among other things, like 2 constitution. But for most of the game, you'll be running some gloves that give you effectively 2 more damage for an element or even bludgeoning. By the end of Act 2, you will get these uninhibited Kashigo boots. They add your wisdom to the bludgeoning damage of your punches. And ring slots are pretty available, but for my money, I will take the extra 1 AC from the ring and the ring of free actions. So I need movement. I don't want to be paralyzed or restrained, and I don't want to be affected by difficult terrain. There is the Khaled's Gift if you want a power game for that extra wisdom. And that's really your range slot should just be there to give you the extra initiative. This bow gives me 3 initiative. Otherwise, like I said, throw something or just run up to them and punch them. You should always be able to reach your target. But why does gear make us broken? Like I said, there's not really any boot slot that anybody's going to use that is going to use the wisdom to add to their damage or their punches, right? So in my notes here, let me come back here. Now that we looked at the gear, you have no weapon. Gloves are the weapon, effectively, if you want to think of it as some kind of equipment. Oh, and another caveat here is, for 2 damage, you can actually swap this out, especially very early on, for the Bracers of Defense, which is going to give you, as if you had a shield, you had 2 more armor class, as long as you're not wearing a shield or you're not wearing armor, which that's our whole thing, man. Awesome. So very early on, monks can achieve some decent armor class thanks to Dex and Wisdom and the Bracers of Defense. I think you can have 19 armor class, especially with this Ring of Protection. So early on, you're punching a lot, you're good armor class, you're not getting hit a lot, you can run all over, right? Wisdom boots add damage, like I said, 8 damage to from your Wisdom, or not 8 damage. They add a flat damage from your Wisdom modifier, in this case 5 extra damage to our bludgeoning damage. And then here's a little trick you may not know. In the end of Act 2, you can find the Resonance Stone, which will apply Steeped in Bliss around you. It'll be a 30-foot radius circle around you, right? As they walk towards me, you can see they have the Steeped in Bliss condition. This means they're vulnerable to psychic damage. So effectively, this damage is lying to us. We do actually 6 to 9 psychic damage is doubled up. So it's effectively 12 to 18 extra damage per punch, which is insane. Okay? That's insane. Let's switch over back to our gloves. Put that back on. So this is not 58 to 80 damage. This is even higher than that on average. Soul Rejuvenation, we talked about. Oh, and nobody is taking your stuff. And as a thief, you can steal other people's stuff. So vendors, sleight of hand, we've gone over it in other videos. Just a nice utility buff, like I said. But in terms of planning out your team or playing multiplayer, if you choose to play Monk, don't fear that there's another Marshal. Don't fear that other people are going to take your gear. And likewise, they don't mind having you around, because who the hell is going to use these gloves, these boots, this chest piece? A lot of people are wearing armor at this point, and you really don't need the gloves or the cape or the helmet, and you can change your ring slot. No one's really going to use Khaled's gift because there's better amulets. Just about all gear is better for somebody else. Somebody wants to run a bow, they're not running the initiative bow, and you don't have to steal a weapon from them. So you're really good complementary, another Marshal on your team, or maybe you're building your team out and you don't mind running 2 Marshals because they're not crossing over each other. So I think that's really good value for building a team. Just another good stat point, or like point for monks, right? So let's go over the last thing. I could talk forever about this combo. Appreciate it if you've already made it this far. But probably the most important thing, and I don't want to gloss over this so lightly. I'll make the video extra long just because I want to kind of talk this. It is good from start to finish. This can't be overstated. You can say, oh, look at my broken build, or oh, this class is awesome. For a lot of the points I've already made, like you're not interfering with other gear, you kind of mix and match Monk into any party. You can be the face of the party even without charisma and all that. But good from start to finish. I want to specifically highlight some of the things that means, right? So right off the riff in Act 1, you can get, like I said, you can attack twice, as we've demonstrated. You attack once, and then you'll get your little bonus action down there. So you're already attacking twice ahead of other Marshals, and you're doing fair damage. It's not like because you don't have a weapon, you can't do good damage. In fact, from Act 1, you can go ahead, you can get the Strength Elixir as soon as you walk into the Grove. As soon as you walk into the Grove, you have 2 attacks and 21 Strength. All you have to do is talk to Auntie Ethel and get yourself a Hill Giant Elixir. 21 strength. Now you are punching very accurately, which is super important in Act 1 and Honor Mode. Okay, and you're also punching twice, so you're really contributing a lot. And like I said earlier, you have decent armor class if you choose to go find those bracers, right? Good dex, good wisdom, can dump strength, grab an elixir, and that's the only type of elixir you need to use for the rest of your game. You don't even have to think for the rest of the game, right? By Act 3, we're going to get Flurry of Blows, okay? It'll be more basic than this. It won't have the push condition or elemental damage, right? But we will get to strike 2 times. So by level 3, your character is hitting 1, 2, 3 punches if you choose to use your Kai points, and you get a decent bit of Kai points even early on, and they refresh on short rest. So in those encounters that seem like larger than life early on in Act 1, where every piece of damage counts, that's a really big freaking deal. By level 4, of course, have we gone over, by level 4 you can take your first feat, and let's highlight it one more time, Tavern Brawler. By level 4, you can double your strength modifier, 21, right? So you're getting 5 attack and accuracy doubled up to 10 accuracy and damage now per punch, which right off the riff, you're starting Act 1 super strong. Now you're even more, you're going to be carrying the party just being this guy who can punch people. It's ridiculous. Level 5, of course, we get, come on over here. At level 5, we'll get our extra attack. Okay, extra attack means now we can punch 1, 2 times per action. If you don't already know, haste haste or speed potions or bloodlust elixirs, that bonus action you get is not a true bonus action. You don't get your extra attack on it anymore in honor mode. I think it still works in tactician, but it was effectively nerfed, which just makes Monk look better. Oh my god, but you still get extra attack at level 5. So at level 6, we're going to get magical elemental punches. So it's called Key Resonance. Okay, all monks get this at level 6, but Way of the Hand monk gets our options for manifestation of body, mind, and soul. And let's talk about that for one last time. Again, by the end of Act 2, this is insane damage. Not only are we adding wisdom to our modifier, we're actually doubling that wisdom modifier because of the resonance stone adding the steeped in bliss condition. Okay, so we are doubling our psychic damage per punch. That's doubling our punch, and then we're doubling that damage, so quadruple psychic damage on a flurry of blows. That's dumb as hell. Okay, by level 7, you can start going for Thief, start trying to achieve that bonus action. The little benefit you get out of that is now you no longer have to spend a Kai point to dash. You'll now have dash as a bonus action or regular action. You get your sleight of hand expertise if you choose. Your sleight of hand is now expertise. It's crazy. And Monk should be pretty much, let's look at the gear. We want to steal stuff, like the Graceful Cloth gives us advantage on Dex, sleight of hand. We have the Smuggler's Ring. We have, of course, the Guidance. I've been all over this in a video before, but you can just have a set that swaps out for stealing things. So level 7, even though you're not getting any power boost, you're probably coasting on the fact that you're carrying the team anyway, and now you're able to steal everything for everybody. That's pretty cool. Okay, by level 9, you can go ahead and get your second action by being a Thief Monk, right? So let's come back up here. You would be a level 3 rogue. You can choose your subclass for Thief. You now have your bonus actions. Look at all you can do with bonus actions. You have that many flurry of blows. Pretty wild. And then by level 10, you are probably in Act 3, and you can now upgrade to the coveted Cloud Giant Strength. You're getting another massive power boost per punch. I think you're adding what? That's a difference of 5 between the two elixirs, so you're adding another 10 freaking damage, right? Did I get the math wrong? 20 to 6. 6. So yeah, you're adding 6 more damage per punch, right? So 6 more damage per punch is pretty nice, especially again when you're punching twice. That's 12 more damage, so woo, crazy. Honestly, at level 11, I don't even have this character at 12 yet. I could level up to 12, but by level 11 and 12, it's up to you. There's a lot of things you could do. You could change it out. But I'm going to wrap the video up with that. There's so much. I could talk for days about this stupid class. I'm not even a fan in fantasy of like monk characters, but maybe Baldur's Gate 3 or D&D has really changed it around. I just wanted to highlight from a mechanical, a game appreciator. Devs, you're awesome for like supporting cool playstyles like this. Wanted to highlight one of them, one of my favorites. Go use Monk. Go use Way of the Fist, Thief Rogue Monk. That's a fucking mouthful, but I appreciate if you were watching. Hopefully this was fun for you, and if you haven't already, try out the frickin' Monk, man. I'll check you in the next one. We'll drop out the list here. You guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next one.